Season well underway. Hawaii Democrats, as we mentioned, having their convention this weekend. Meanwhile, Republicans recently wrapped up theirs. I caught up with their new party chair, Lynn Finnegan, who says they're hoping to mount a political comeback in 2022 in a state long dominated by Democrats. And joining us this morning is Lynn Finnegan. She is the chair of the Hawaii Republican Party. Good morning, Lynn.
Good morning, Tom. Thanks for having me this morning.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I know we're heading up for a busy election season. You guys just had your convention as well. Obviously, you guys are at a real low point in terms of numbers of representatives. Only one state senator, only 4 members of the entire House. How are you sort of hoping to build things back up this fall?
Actually, we've been on track of building up our party. What we've been doing is reaching out to people, and we've been doing a lot of recruitment of candidates as the recruitment of candidate deadline is June 7th. And we've been getting great feedback. We have had a lot of volunteers stepping up, a lot of donors coming to the table. These are good and courageous people that, despite the fact that we don't have many elected officials, and there's a superpower of the Democrat Party right now. And what we say all the time and what we've seen in the news has been, when you have absolute power, it corrupts absolutely. And so, people have been resonating with the message that we need a balanced 2-party system, and they've been, jumping on board. And I think we're heading into this election with hope and with just the feeling that I think there's nowhere but up, and we're going to pick up seats this year.
What have you seen as the disconnect? Because obviously, at certain points, Governor Ige's approval rating hasn't been the best. I mean, a lot of people might sense opportunity there. How come what's your view in terms of how that hasn't translated to numbers of seats for you guys?
I mean, over the past
few cycles.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think the messaging of the Hawaii Republican Party, we haven't been strong. And over the last few election cycles, it's been a challenge. I think, many of us have come back. Many of us are getting involved again. And we're making it a point to come out with a message. And that message for us is no more apathy. People, when we talk to people, the average person on the street, they talk to us and they say, well, I'm just going to accept that this is the way that it's going to be, whether it's our economy, whether it's the overreach of government, or our businesses shutting down, or crime being on the rise. And, people have just been apathetic over the last few election cycles. And we're here to say, no, there's something that you can do. You can stand for Hawaii, which is our election slogan this year, is that you can stand for Hawaii and we can stop this. We can turn the tide and move forward.
And I have to ask you too, the last couple of governor's races, the Republican nominee has been somebody that's been in government before, but obviously BJ Penn, a huge factor this year. Do you think he will help the party or hurt the party?
Well, I'm going to talk about actually all of our governor candidates. We have a bunch of newcomers coming to the table, and one with Heidi Tsunayoshi being a sitting council member, but most of them are new. And what I would say about that is it's a fresh look. And BJ Penn stepping up to run for governor has been, for a lot of people, whether it be candidates or volunteers, they're saying, you know what, if BJ can step up, if he can stand up and say, let's change this system without any history or background in politics, I think that's kind of encouraging and hopeful for a lot of people. So I think what you're going to see, and what we've seen in recruiting candidates, is that these candidates, whether on the top of the ticket as gubernatorial candidates down to our local races, such as House of Representatives or in the state Senate, is that from the Republican side, you have experienced people in life, whether they're teachers, we have people in, the police, we have retirees, we have young folks, out of college, and out there in the real world. We have small business owners. We have a bunch of different types of people who are non-typical candidates, a little out of the box, but they're eager, they're ready to learn, and they're ready to go toe to toe, with the Democrat opponent. So I think that this is going to be, as long as the people of Hawaii see that citizen legislators can really, contribute to the overall policies and lawmaking process. And I love that about our candidates, because they're saying, we live real life out there in our communities. We deal with the crime in our neighborhoods. We deal with, sending our kids to school, and we're not separated by this arm's length distance, not really living the day-to-day lives that we all in the communities live.
All right. Well, looking forward to a heated election season. We appreciate it, Lynn.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and from talking to Lynn, we're actually such a blue state that part of the problem is in the past they haven't even been able to find candidates for every single race in the past. So that's their first goal. She said is, of course, a couple weeks the deadline to file is. So their goal this time is just to have one Republican candidate at least to face the Democrat in every seat in the legislature. Of course, they're at their kind of low point. Things might not change for them overnight, but they said they've at least set a goal of at least a dozen seats coming from the 5 that they have now.
And of course, you can find that interview as well as the interview that you did a little earlier with
the Democrats,
on our website, kitv.com, along with more information on this entire election season as we build up into it.
An interesting time in Hawaii politics for sure.